Well, hi guys. This is Don. Don with servant number 4 Christ at gmail.com. Different website. Resource number 4 Christ at gmail.com. Resource for Christ at gmail.com. This is Just Love Her. Thoughts on how to not just live in but glorify God in the middle of a bad marriage. This is part 10. Kind of excited about this, and this is pretty cool. But this is part 10. Love him when you can't, and I have can't in quotation marks. Love him when you can't love her. Kind of like that. Quote break. Just because my life feels like hell doesn't mean it's her job to make it feel like heaven. 1 Peter 4:19. Let me say it again. Just because my life feels like hell doesn't mean it's her job to make it feel like heaven. 1 Peter 4:19. Song break. Love this one. This is Close by Hillsong Young and Free. Close. I want to be close to you. Fantastic song. Fantastic. So, hey, let's pray, and then we'll get going. Jesus, thank you so much for your unbelievable love. Thank you that you want to be our number one love. And Jesus, I'm just praying for any of the guys who might be watching this, that I'm absolutely sure they are scared, panicking, anxious, confused, possibly angry, maybe don't want to live anymore, maybe want to do something stupid like have an affair or cheat or spend too much money or start using some substance. So Jesus, I just ask that you do something supernatural today, because I know I can't. I'm a complete screw up, but I don't have to be cool because you are. So thanks. We love you, and we'll talk to you later. Love him when you can't love her. I'm going to give a couple of verses here. This is John 14:21. Amazing verse. It's an amazing verse. The person who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who really loves me. And whoever really loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and reveal myself to him. I will make myself real to him. Amplified Bible. Next one is 1 Corinthians 13:4-7, New American Standard. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not jealous. Does not brag. It is not arrogant. It does not act disgracefully. It does not seek its own benefit. It is not provoked. Does not keep an account of wrongs suffered. Looking at my time here already. It does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. It keeps every confidence. It believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Okay, ready? There will be times when you literally cannot stand your open quote bad wife. Okay, it's not her fault. It's mine. Anything in these presentations, it's never going to be her fault. It's always going to be yours. If you and I were sitting in a counseling session, I'd say doesn't have anything to do with her. Why? Because she's not here. And if she was here, I'd probably still focus on you because you're the leader. Not in the world. The world doesn't promote that anymore. Actually, it's promoting like female leadership. I have no problem with that. But when it comes to church and the family, it's male leadership. And so it's, the buck stops here. So I'm responsible for my thoughts and attitudes. No one, not even my open quote bad close quote wife, can make me feel or think anything. That's totally my responsibility. The thought of being kind and dropping my self-centeredness, 1 Corinthians 13:4-5, is simply out of the question. I want to be selfish. I want to be self-centered. This hurts. I don't like it. In those times where I open quote can't close quote, and I put it in quotes because it's most likely won't. If God tells us to do something in his power, we can do it. Not in and of ourselves. We can't. Okay, we can't. But if he's asked us to do some, ought does not equal can. Ought does not equal can. But here it is. He's the dynamic of his own demand. He's the cause of his own effect. If he tells us to do something, then we surrender, we expire, and we let him live his life through us. So in this case specifically, how would we go about doing this? First, we want to focus on his unconditional love for us. We really need to get in the habit of, some people have a hall of fame. I have a hall of shame. And it's, for whatever reason, it's like a Quonset hut. And it's miles and miles and miles long. And there's pictures of all the stupid choices, thoughts, actions, situations, scenarios of all these dumb things that I've done. We don't dwell on those, but we remember them for the context of, number one, we're going to see later here, I'm the chief of sinners, 1 Timothy 1:15. I am the chief of sinners, and at the same time, God unconditionally loves and forgives me. Psalms 59:10. He is changeless in his love for me. And this is love, not that we loved him, but that he loved us and gave himself to be the propitiation for our sins, the exchange for our sins. So I focus on what a dingbat sinner I am, and stop focusing on believing that she's a dingbat sinner. No, that's God's responsibility. When I start, remember, that's a log in my eye, sawdust in hers. But we're going to think it's a log in her eye. So we're going to focus on his unconditional love and forgiveness for all my sin and idolatries. Why? Because you can't give what you don't have, not even to yourself. You're going to hear me say that a lot, because it's two things. We give the love we've been given. You can't give what you don't have. I added the part of not even to yourself because there's a stupid, humanistic, ungodly mindset and quote out there that says you got to love yourself before you love someone else. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. You can only give what you've been given. So we focus on the fact of how much God loved us while we were literally flipping him off. I'm not trying to be, nasty there. That's Romans 5:8. But God demonstrated his love towards us in that while we are yet sinners, the word there is like enemy, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Okay? So we focus on that. We marinate in his love for us. And now I have motivation to ask him to help us to evidence that love. We're not going to do anything to earn anything because we've already received it. But we ask him, thank you for living your miraculous supernatural life through me. And would you please take the love that you've given me and help me pass it on to my wife? First of all, pass it on to him. We're going to look at that in a second. John 14:1, that's going to be the next point. Pass it on to him through obedience. I could probably just say it. I'm just going to read it. Next, take seriously John 14:21, and remember that one of the ways I evidence my love for him, not earning it, but evidence my love towards him, is when I, in his power, with the motivation that he gets seen as cool as he is, church people say glorify, I obey what he said to do in 1 Corinthians 13:4 and 5. I'm just going to throw it. Be patient, be kind, don't hang on to resentments. Voila. I just told Jesus that I love him based on John 14:21. If you have his commandments and you keep them, say, God, I love you. One of the easiest ways to say, God, I love you is, and you can't do it on your own. In his power, we obey with the motivation of saying, God, thank you for loving me. Here's a little way of loving you. Thank you for giving me the ability to love you. And as a byproduct, your wife will get loved in the process. Okay. This is a weird little side note here. Don't explain the process to your wife. She doesn't need to know. You're going to get in trouble. Well, I really don't love you and I can't stand you, but, God told me to obey. Yeah, that's going to go over real well. No, there are lots of times we learn to graciously and maturely keep our mouths shut and we do the right thing and we don't have to explain everything. And this is one of those things, in my opinion. But as I continue this process of loving him when I can't love her, there's a good chance that Jesus will energize my heart due to my investing what is important to me: time, money, effort, humility, keeping my mouth shut into what was initially difficult. And my proof text is Luke 12:34. Wherever your heart is, wherever your treasure is, your heart will follow. Hope I got that right. If I invest, the 12-step program, we'll call it a fake it till you make it. Well, the faking part is I may not feel it. Well, I don't have to feel it. The majority of the important relational character traits are not dependent on our emotions. I love and it's not dependent on my emotion. I forgive whether I feel like it or not. See, and the majority, if I don't feel it, I'm faking it. Well, that's not true. Okay, then fake it. Okay, but it's still not true. The Bible doesn't say we have to feel love in 1 Corinthians 13. It just says do it. And the way we do it is, the how and the why. The how and the why. How is Jesus lives his life through us. Why is that he gets the credit, and as a byproduct, my wife's going to get loved. Okay? So, I think that's it. This is a two-parter today, so we're going to keep going. See how much time I got here. We're doing okay. Quote break again, because we're going to move on to part 2. If the driver's seat of who I am, my heart, is occupied by a deceived operator, what makes me think I'm the best judge of what my, open quote, bad, close quote, wife and my, open quote, bad, close quote, marriage should look like? Jeremiah 17:9. Our heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can understand it? Well, here it is. If I'm messed up like that, wouldn't it be much better to look to Jesus or God, the one who designed and created the created marriage? This is how he said that. Remember a couple of installments earlier? His plan, not mine. We get really messed up when we have a dual agenda. Dual agenda. My plan and his plan. And when I start fighting for my plan versus his, there's going to be all kinds of pain, suffering, yuck. Okay, part 2. Turbocharging the love him when I can't love her. Turbocharging the love him when I can't love her. So the verse I want to look at here is Hebrews 5:8. Although he was a son who had never been disobedient to the Father, he learned active, special obedience through what he suffered. Amplified Bible. Okay, so here's the new scenario. You're in the I can't love her thing again. And again, I have can't in quotation marks because it's won't. I can because God's told me to do it. If I do it in his, surrendered power. I surrender. I get out of the way and he does it through me. But this time it's because she did something that really hurt me. It caused me suffering, hardship, disappointment, sadness, disrespect, whatever it is. It really hurt. And this next scenario I'm going to talk about, the other one hurts too. Anytime you have to deny yourself and do what Jesus says in his power, it hurts. This hurts because it already hurt. And but this is why it's turbocharged. But Jesus said, love her and keep forgiving her even when it hurts. Ephesians 5:25. I'm literally supposed to give my life for her. Okay. Matthew 18:21 and 22. And then 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. We already looked at that. Okay. Again, remind yourself of how much he has loved and forgiven you. That is a constant. I am the chief of sinners. I cannot believe you love me. I am such a screw up. I cannot believe you love me. I am so messed up and incapable. I can't believe you chose me first to be on your team. And here it is. It's not because I have my act together. It's because he chose to love me. Okay. And then remember, you can't give what you don't have, not even to yourself. Okay, I am completely dependent on Jesus. I'm completely dependent on my relationship with him. Now that you've reminded yourself of how much he has already, we're not doing this to earn, perform, or get love. We're doing it because we already got love. Now you have some love and forgiveness to give to her. In order to turbocharge this new hurt-filled, and I am putting in there because it's going to be painful, suffering-infused scenario with your, open quote, bad, close quote, wife, remember that Jesus, ready, open quote, learned obedience from the things he suffered. Hebrews 5:8. I'm going to just dive into this a little bit. Obviously, you know that Jesus never sinned. 2 Corinthians 5:21, Hebrews 4:15. He never sinned. He was sinless. His learning doesn't mean he was a disobedient youngster and somehow grew into an obedient adult. That's not true. It's more like Jesus increased in his submission surrendering and obedience as the God-directed demands and sufferings got harder. As God handcrafted horribly difficult, painful scenarios for Jesus, as they got harder, his obedience grew. Not that he was disobedient and became obedient. It grew. It enhanced. It met the demands of the challenges that God put on Jesus. An example of this would be Luke 22:42. Father, if you are willing, please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine. He increased. He grew. He learned obedience from the things he suffered. Well, I don't know of all things, but I believe from the time he was 12 years old, didn't you know that I would be about my Father's business? He was still being obedient when he was a 12-year-old. Well, now when he was a 33-year-old in the Garden of Gethsemane, he learned obedience. It got tougher. He learned it. God-directed suffering gives us the opportunity to grow in our obedience to him. Now, that is not a casual statement. Please listen to me when I say this. God-directed suffering gives us the opportunity to grow in our obedience to him. And as we obey him in his power, it's one of our ways of showing him that we love him, and it turbocharges our love for our wife. When you are in God-directed suffering, God put you two together. Whom God has put together, let no man separate, not even you. You're going to have to doctrine yourself. You're going to have to Bible verse yourself into the truth. We place too much faith in our feelings. And so right now, you may be wanting to do some really stupid things in your bad marriage, open quote, bad, close quote, marriage. Well, this is your opportunity to grow in your obedience to him. I'm going to say this with as much compassion as I can. Your obedience to him, with a passion that he gets seen as good as he is in the middle of this horrible time, i.e. glorifying God, is more important than the suffering you're going through. Now, you may not like that, but I believe it's biblically true. What you're going through is not an accident. God wasn't sitting on the toilet reading the Sports Illustrated magazine and seeing you and your wife struggling and say, whoops, didn't see that coming. Of course he saw it coming. And he never does anything that's not for his glory and our good. Never. Never. He never sacrifices one for the other. The Bible's all over that. And if you're struggling with that, please get the book Trusting God by Jerry Bridges. Okay. So I'm going to go, I got to look at my time here. Oh, wow. I'm going to try and keep this a little simple. First of all, from my 6th grade brain, and maybe it'll help you as well. So, when I obey, ready, it evidences my love for Jesus. I'm not earning anything. I'm not a super Christian. The only reason I can obey is because God gave me the ability to obey. But the way John 14:21 says, anytime I obey with the drive of dependence on him and he gets seen clearly, it evidences my love for him too. God and Jesus will love me, John 14:21. I will get to know them better. But this is not hard. When I move forward in obedience, it's like I'm seeing new territory that I've never seen before. When every time I come up to a point and I do that same sin, you and we have our little special sins that we do in order to distract ourselves from the pain we're going through. Well, for the first time in my life, when I say, I'm not going to do that, C.S. Lewis says you never know how bad you are until you try to be good. Well, when God gives you the ability to be good, You're moving in, it's like you walk through a door and there's a new neighborhood and there's all these new sights. Why? Because of constantly sinning, I now, for the first time in my life at age 63, say, you know what? I'm going to obey. I am learning all kinds of new things about Jesus over the past 3 years. I've been a Christian since 1977. But for whatever reason, and I'm not doing it perfectly, I'm sinning all over the place, but maybe a little bit less, we're saying, God, I'm not quitting, I'm not cheating, I'm going to follow through. I'll say it again. Just the fact that I'm talking to you on this YouTube thing means I'm being obedient. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I know I don't have a cool background. I was looking at some stuff. I don't have anything, you know? I mean, I got no hair and I got a big old zit on my, and I'm a mess. I don't care. He said to finish it. Zechariah 8:9, finish it. Okay, I'm finishing it. I don't care. But I'm learning a lot of new things about him in the process. And it's not because I'm cool. It's because he's cool. Okay, I'm going to read this because I don't want to mess it up. God and Jesus will love me, John 14:21. Now, this is a little weird. Jesus and God never increase or decrease their love for me based on what I do or don't do. Their love for me, us, is constant based on who they are and that they've chosen to love me. Psalms 59:10, 1 John 4:10, and this is love, not that we loved him, and then Titus 3:5-6. He saved us not on the basis of deeds which we have done in righteousness, but he chose us. It's not about what we do. So this portion of John 14:21 is not talking about God increasing his love for us, but rather us getting a clearer, more consistent experience of his love without the distractions of sin and rebellion. It does that fellowship thing where it creates a distance, and then there's this foggy cloud of my shame and guilt and junk and blah, blah, blah. Okay? Well, the obedience thing, like I said before, opens up a door of a new vista of getting to know Jesus. 3, Jesus says that as we obey, he will more intimately reveal, quote, reveal, close quote, himself to us. In the same way Moses, Elijah, Hosea, and Paul wanted to know him, and obviously there's tons more, he will do this revealing, open quote, revealing, close quote, to us. Proof text, Exodus 33:12-23, 2 Kings 6:17-20, Hosea 6:6. Oh, let us know, let us press on to know the Lord. That's Hosea. Philippians 3:8. Okay, above everything else, I want to know him. 4, when I obey in the context of suffering, it somehow supercharges the first 3 benefits. Evidences my love for him. God and Jesus will show more of themselves to me, and then they'll reveal more of themselves to me. I think I screwed up on that part, but I'm going to keep going. When I obey in the context of suffering, it somehow supercharges the first 3 benefits. He learned active, special obedience through what he suffered. Okay. Man, I can't believe I'm done early. That was 2 portions. Well, I don't think I know what else to say here. Let's see if I can, when I can't love her, love him. We use the motivation and the passion of God loving us when we obviously don't deserve it. And as we marinate in that, and obviously the best place to find that is in the Bible, as we marinate in the fact that I don't deserve his love, but he continues to love us, when I'm all bunged up about loving her, oh, this is weird. I don't even want to, that weird song, if you can't be with the one you love, then love the one you're with. I'm not sure that's a really good thing, but my thought would be is, if you're unable to love your wife, then love the one who's always with you. Jesus is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. He's never let you down. He is faithful. He will never abandon us. He died on the cross for us. So as we marinate in the fact that he loves us, we will do kind of an end run, a backdoor approach. We will show love to him because of all the unbelievable love he's shown us in his power. And what he says is, love your wife, 1 Corinthians 13, Ephesians chapter 5. So we'll do it because he said to do it. And as a byproduct, our wives will be the beneficiaries of being loved. So that's the gig for today. Jesus, thank you so much. Guys, hang in there. Dare to hope. Dare to hope. Dare to hope. This suffering is not unto death. It's not unto death. God's not doing this because he can't stand you. God's not doing this because he abandoned you. He's doing this because it's going to make you more like him, and it's going to show him clearly. And there's every hope and belief that it won't be this way forever. God's doing something cool. Okay, thanks, guys.